What's up, everybody? Already back here with another video. This lighting's pretty good, I think. This is probably an angle I'm gonna use often for these videos, but what are we gonna talk about today? Oh, we're gonna talk about relationships and how I see dating these days and how I live in regards to like modern dating norms in society nowadays, because I mean, am I the only one that's like, what are we doing here? What's going on? I'm gonna take a swig of this really quick, so. Excuse me. Anywho, do you guys like my summer top? It's so frilly, I love it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about how I see modern dating in this world today through like social media. I'm just gonna put my hair up. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, no, I'm gonna put it up. Yeah, I actually kind of like, that looks good. Right, wonderful. Here we are. All right, so I'm still setting up in the new LA apartment. Still getting shit together. It's been like a month, you guys, but there's so much to do, and I haven't gotten around to getting everything pretty and neat, but I will. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about how I honestly view dating, especially these days, and my own dating, I guess, outlook and I guess habits when it comes to dating. So yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. And I'm also going to share a little bit about my personal life and about experiences or a certain experience that I have held dearly to me throughout my life, and what it's taught me and how I can move forward, whether it's in that situation or a different situation. If you guys scroll through Instagram every day, you tend to see, okay, I don't want to look like I'm topless in this video, but yeah, you tend to see all these reels with I don't know if I would describe it as political, or, you see all these clips on these alpha men or alpha females, basically there's a war between men and women these days, which I get exhausted even hearing about it, looking at it, who's superior, and it's just all this toxicity on the internet, and I believe social media is responsible for a lot of these weird wars, I guess, that are just petty and unproductive to society as a whole or to people's lives. I feel like a lot of people ingest this information and kind of apply it to their own lives and make decisions based off of what they see on TikTok and 5 signs that she's not really interested, and it's just this weird, it's nobody knows the situations of shit. Why are you telling a whole population what's true and what's not to their own lives? I just think it has led, I think, to a lot of divorce, and I think just a lot of insecurities in general, which can lead to I don't know, infidelity in monogamous relationships, or just all that stuff that I think can tear people apart, has become just so, I don't know, normalized or seen as, it's you're helping society, but you're not. You're spreading a lot of negativity out there, and for that reason, I think a lot of people just are broken in relationships because they take certain advice to heart and they allow it to eat away at their own confidence in a certain relationship, or they allow it to kind of take over their own self-worth to a degree, and well, if that person online and it has a million views says this, then I don't know if I can really trust this person or something. And so I think that can be very destructive in our culture today. But yeah, how I feel about dating in general, for me, I feel like I don't participate in this culture of dating that I see other people around my age, like age 20 to 30, I guess, participate in all this like Hinge and just all this, just these scrolling through like these endless options, like having the illusion of options, I guess, is like, wow, that's like new to a lot of people to see. Wow, look at all the options I have. But it's like, I think if you're in the world of entertainment and you're used to that, to the constant just, because man, like I am in entertainment, and yeah, you have options. Yeah, people are staring at you in the street. Yeah, people are, and I just feel like that has changed how I view dating in regards to like, if you compare it to like your everyday citizen who like has a normal job or something like that. I've always had this mindset though, like ever since high school, where I'm like, if I like someone and I want to marry that person, or I see myself with that person, then I'm gonna pursue that person and make it known that I want them. And I guess for me, a lot of dating revolved around handpicking certain people that I found fascinating, or that they could add to my life in a certain way, or I don't know, just a person that I was curious about or something like that. That was my pattern since I was young, since I was like a kid. I always knew what like I could bring to the table and how other people kind of perceived me. So I would be very picky in who I chose to like or express how I felt to. And I feel like I'm still like that to this day. Like I'm very picky. Actually, when I was my worst self, I think like the most low vibrational, toxic person, that was when I found a lot more people attractive and would explore options more and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm talking to him and him and him and all that stuff. But I realized, wow, I was like in the gutter back, like, but yeah, anyway, so I've always seen love and dating as like a forever type of thing. I just need to pull this up. Did I just fucking like, okay, Bria, what are you doing? But again, I'm very picky. I have preferences when it comes to people, when it comes to, and for me, it's not even about the type of person. I don't have like a list of criteria. It's about the connection. And sometimes, like I will say, if I have a connection with a certain person, part of me will hang on to that connection for a very long time. And I've had one of those experiences, I guess when I moved to California, I had this friend that I knew it could go somewhere with him, and I wanted to see where it went. And that's not why I moved, but he happened to live in the area, and I'm being honest about that. Like, a lot of people are like, you moved for him. I'm like, no, I really didn't. He happened to live in the place where I could succeed, and you know, it could be anywhere. I wouldn't move to Iowa for a man. Unless, of course, he wanted me to and we were like super committed, all that. But even then, I'd be like, I want to move to Hawaii. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like with this relationship, and it did, and I was right when I predicted that, yeah, it would grow into more. And it did, but for the longest time, I felt just like it wasn't going where I wanted it to go, which and I always would tell him, I'm like, I chose you. I chose you. Like, how could you not take me more seriously? How could you not want to show me off? Because obviously, yeah, I have that egotistical, like I still do have that egotistical type of confidence where yeah, I think I'm great. Yeah, I think that I have a lot of qualities that I can bring to a relationship. And if you don't appreciate that, that's your problem, right? Obviously, I see a lot of this toxic femininity people like have that same outlook, but I really believe that I believe that there was truth to all that, and there is truth to all that, what I like scolded him about off and on, just like throughout our relationship or our situationship. I'm just gonna call it that, because it wasn't a relationship all the time. It was really up and down, really hot and cold, really, I'm not gonna say it was toxic, because yeah, I do still, I hold space for this person and want him to grow up, and I want him to obviously realize what's really important in this world. And for me, I think it was about proving a lot of people wrong. I think it was about proving people that I can have exactly what I want when I want it. But who cares? Like, I don't think anyone was like analyzing Bria's life like to a T and being like, okay, some people do overanalyze my life, but overall, like, who really gives a fuck? Like, anyway, so this man, I have a lot of love for him, and I always have, and I always will. I don't know what the future holds. Sometimes he sees my value, and sometimes he chooses to look in other directions, which it's like, that activates my ego a lot, and that activates my, even though I also have looked at other options as well, sometimes. I mean, I'm still extremely picky, so if I have my sights like set for somebody, no, I need to have that person, right? But it got to a point where I was really ignoring the signs that, like, obviously, yeah, he saw my value, but every time I would bring it up, or every time I would, like, tell him, I'm like, you're sleeping on a wife here, like, I'm your wife, he'd be like, yeah, you're right, I know you're great, and I know, but, all that, and it's just like, but what? He never really had a reason for not, like, being more consistent with me, for not, and I would see the other people that he eyed along the way of our journey, and my ego would fucking shoot to the roof, because I would see the other people that he was, like, entertaining, I guess, and my ego would, like, be so triggered. I would get triggered seeing these people, because, like, I don't talk bad about people. Like, I'm friends with a lot of these types of people anyway, but seeing what he chose over, like, fully committing to me and stuff, it was actually, I was like, I asked him, I'm like, are you okay? Are you good? You know, but yeah, I know, he knew I was right. He would always say, I know, Bria, you're right and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you just, but it's like, I was holding on to what I so badly wanted my life to be like, because I did see a lot of potential in us. I think it wasn't really about him. It was about what we could be as a couple. And just the power we had whenever we were together, and the deep conversations, and just the chemistry, and just everything else. It was like click, 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 all into place, just every single time that I would hang out with him. And I would be like, he sees it too. He's admitted to it many times, and he still chooses to kind of entertain these, okay, his type, opposite of me. I would say emo, goth girl type of this e-girl kind of like, and I'm friends with a lot of those types of people, because internally I kind of am like that a little bit. I've always attracted those people to my reality, and I've always loved all those people. But I could never understand why he wanted relationships with these types of people over me. And I was like, do you realize what a flex it is to have me on your arm? Do you realize how many men with money want to show me off in public, and do actually, you know, and just to kind of prove a point, I'm like, how could you not see value? I guess Yeah, but I was frustrated, and that's okay to get frustrated at people that you're just like, what, like, I don't understand why they're not grasping or why they're choosing to be stubborn over it. And for me, I look at it now and I'm like, he was being a little stubborn, actually. And it's about letting go. It's about just realizing you have to leave people in the reality that they've chosen, even though you know you can improve their life, even though you know you can add to their life. That's clearly not what they want, even though they say that they do, even though they're like, I just want a woman that loves me and caters to me. I did do all that. And did you like, I'm not saying that this is like a lost cause or a lost situation, because yeah, it's like, yeah, the connection, real connection, great connection, but my ego was very bruised, and I think it was really about proving everybody wrong at that point. Because sometimes I hate to be wrong, and occasionally I am wrong, and I don't like being wrong. I think it's an uncomfortable feeling to be wrong, especially when you've put your eggs in that basket and you're like, you know what, I'm really gonna pursue this relationship and trust that this person will grow up into the person that I see adding to this connection, all that. So it's okay to be wrong at times. And again, we could be married in 5 years looking at this video and being like, haha, that was hilarious that you said all this. But I like to share my stories on here, and I don't know, it's kind of freeing to me. I feel like a lot of people can learn and relate per se, or just listen to me blab about nonsense and come through the other side being all having a new perspective, a new fuller perspective on somebody else's life. And so how I see relationships, it's really, I just see a lot of people these days be so critical on all these like bullet points that he has to be a certain height, or it's like, dude, you're like literally viewing dating so wrong. Like I date for love. I don't date because he crosses off a number of boxes that I want to be like perceived in society as blah 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 blah. I don't know. And maybe that was how he saw these other girls too, because I'm like, why would you want to show that girl off? Why wouldn't you want to show me off? Maybe he just was vibing at that time with that person. And that's fine. Like, I feel like, but he also vibed with me, and he vibes with me a lot. So I always questioned, I'm like, how could you vibe with somebody else more than you vibe with me? Like, anyway, enough said about that. But yeah, I do believe society needs to shift a little bit, and I want to help bring that shift. I want to help people just understand like the point in dating, the point in relationships. And sometimes you date just to date and have a good time, and that's fine. But other times, like for me, I date to marry. I date to, and yeah, sometimes I do have these like surface level connections at times with people that I know it probably won't get into the future. But yeah, I do enjoy that as well. But it never has come down to bullet points and checklists of qualities. It always comes down to a vibe, and if I'm feeling, but you know what, maybe I should start to, have a checklist. Maybe I should, because look where it's got me so far. But it's like, yeah, this was the realest connection I've ever had in my life. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to be judged by loving somebody and seeing potential in somebody and us and me. And it's like, oh God, it even got to a point where I was always putting pressure on me to self-improve and be perfect so I can be wife material for him, so that he can X out all his other options. It didn't matter how far I got or how high I climbed. Oh my God, I think of the song, In the end, it doesn't even matter. Like, I think of that song every time I think about him, because it's true. Like, no matter how far you go in your life, sometimes it actually makes it worse. Sometimes the further you go and the more status you gain, the less people actually want to be with you for the sake of being with you, you know, because again, you always tie it into, well, is this person just using me for like clout or so that I can post them on my story or something like that? And you realize you've kind of dug your own grave at that point, and you're like, oh, how many people actually like me for me? You know, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that's my story, and I think it's thrilling to talk about this, because I never do. I always talk about it to like friends and family and stuff and just go on and on. They probably fucking want to cut my head off sometimes from how much I bring up this person, just out of the confusion that he's kind of caused over the years, and just everything that we've gone through as, I guess, a weird couple, a weird relationship-y type of, yeah. So anyway, that's my view on dating. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I'm just gonna sit it out, and when it's supposed to be, it'll be, and with the perfect person for me. And again, I accept God has a plan. I always say this, and everything will fall into place. So is there anything else I want to add? Piece of advice: sometimes it's not even about you. I mean, truthfully, I thought the whole time I always had to do something a little different so that he could not ever look at other women, right? And boy, it's like the higher I climbed, the lower he dug. So never do things for a man, and I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for me, obviously. But maybe in a way, like I prioritized our relationship so much to a point where I was really sacrificing a lot of what I was really sacrificing a lot of my own natural self-confidence for the sake of like what a man wants to be able to show off. And it's like, why was oh my gosh, like I realized it wasn't even about looks or anything, clearly. I mean, for judging the people, I mean, fuck, it still eats at me. And am I egotistical and surface level? I mean, at this point, I've turned into that a little bit, just through the ego dips that I've had to take. Yeah, I know. But otherwise, I consider myself like a deep thinker and a deep person, and I could connect with him on so many levels, which was even harder because I'm like, okay, so no matter how good I look, no matter how beautifully I connect with you, human to human, no matter how happy you are every time you see me, it's still like, what are you even wanting? Like, but yeah, some people, they're just not ready for you. And a lot of people need to understand this and accept this in their life and realize you're always worth it. You're always worth it. It doesn't matter how great you are, or how much you can improve even. Like, it doesn't matter. You're always where you're supposed to be. And some people can see your value at some points and some just won't. Or some do and they just don't choose to, I don't know, like connect with you at that point in time. Yeah, and this person keeps coming back and keeps coming in and out. He probably tells people otherwise, but it's like, oh my God, I've lectured him so many times. I'm like, do you not see a value in having me as your woman? Like, what? That's the thing. That's life, and we sometimes just gotta deal with the circumstances right now and make the most of them. And in the meantime, yeah, I love to flirt and I like to like explore options and all that stuff. And I think that's fine, you know, he's doing that too. We talked about it. So anyway, I think ultimately, I have so much love for him. So yeah, for me, it's about career. It's about continuing to up level, continuing to be better because I want to. I'm not doing it for anyone except for me, because I know some people don't even value that in the first place, like I thought they did, right? But I'm doing it for me, and I always did, but I always looked at collaterals and what else it could get me, but that didn't even work. Yeah, right? I'm so proud of everything that I've accomplished this year and the last few years that I've been trying to improve. And yeah, I know he was my muse for all that. Just like the collateral thing that helped me kind of elevate as a person. Ultimately though, you're good enough. Don't ever think otherwise. You're always more than enough, and you'll always be enough for the people meant to be in your life right now. So just focus on you, work, money. I still like don't have Hinge or any of these like stupid apps just because I feel like it's a waste of time. Like I feel like if God wants me to meet a person in my 3D physical reality, he will do that for me. And he always has. So I feel like, yeah, I have a lot of trust in God. I have a lot of trust that when I don't look for things, they kind of come to me. So yep, that's my take on it. So yeah, have a great day, everybody. I'll be back soon with another video. I'm actually really enjoying doing all this. This is kind of fun for me, but yeah. Anyway, stay cool throughout the summer. Don't get sunburnt or anything like that. I've already been sunburned a few times, but all right, bye.